when you're going through these trials in your marriage, when you're going through these testings in your marriage, know that you are going through a threshing. You're going through a threshing. You are going through a process of purifying. It's for you to keep doing your part of the covenant. And the Lord who sees in secret is your rewarder. Hi, Team Resolute Christians. I can't believe we are in autumn. Autumn is my season, okay? As you know, I am an October baby, autumn baby. So I'm super excited. So welcome to the season, guys. I'm already dressed for it. Got my burgundy colors going on and my rusty golden colors going on. Yeah, so I'm super excited about that. But today we're going to talk about a more serious topic, okay? So that is how to deal with a difficult spouse, okay? And you know, all my perspectives are always from a Christian perspective, because I am a Christian and I'm in a Christian marriage, and so you know, it will always be from that perspective. And yeah, very excitingly, is if you may have noticed, we now have a podcast sign that says, if you go on my channel, you can see the podcast sign, and then you can see that we've got the marriage series podcast going on, okay? So those podcasts will be just focused on marriage topics, and we will talk everything marriage, where we can come together as a Christian community and just really work on it. Because at the moment, you know, statistics show that 50% of all marriages are failing, Christian communities even getting worse. And we're going to debunk some of these things and just see how we can better work together to ensure that this important covenant is not broken, and that we're going it with the right knowledge to begin with, okay? And by the grace of God, sustain this amazing institution that God created from the beginning. One of the first things that God instituted was the institution of marriage, okay? So yeah, exciting things to come ahead. I'm still waiting for my equipment. You know, I've ordered my podcast equipment. I'm so excited to just pour out knowledge and to support out some of the wisdom that the Lord has given me concerning this topic. I had a subscriber reach out to me asking me, how do I deal with this difficult spouse? And from the message that I received, it's like they are at the brink of considering divorce, that it's just unbearable, and how to just deal with it. And so I hope this video brings a solution to someone else as well who may be going through that same situation. Okay, first of all, I would like to mention that marriage is in stages. You know, this same difficult spouse was not a difficult spouse when you first married them, or else you wouldn't have married them, right? In the honeymoon stage, things must have been just so amazing. They were the person that you wanted to be with. They just ticked most of the boxes that you felt that you needed in a spouse, and you went ahead with it. But as time goes on, you learn different aspects of the person, and you may now consider them as a difficult spouse to be with. And you know, it's very interesting. People think that the length of time that you court a person reveals to you all that the person is. No, that's not the case. It does not matter how long you actually study the person for before marrying, you will always discover new things. That's because as humans, we are ever evolving. We don't stay who we are or who we were to begin with. We learn, we grow, we mold, we adapt as humans. And so the person that you met 10 years ago is not the same person that you are living with now, okay? And the person you're living with now is not who they are going to be in another 10 years to come. That's because that's just how we are wired. We're wired to change. But then at the end, I'm going to give you a bonus tip as to how you can identify the right spouse for you. So number one, you must study your partner, okay? You must study your partner. A person generally, unless they have a psychological problem, does not generally just wake up upset, okay? There are certain things that trigger maybe inappropriate behavior, because it's never appropriate to just be mean, to just be absent, or to be passive. It's never appropriate. But there's certain things that may trigger these things. And let me just put a disclaimer here. I am not excusing abusive behavior or behavior that is not nice to another partner. I'm not excusing it, but I'm giving you tips on how to deal with these type of situations, because at the moment the first thing that people want to say is, well, I'm going to get a divorce, I'm leaving. But before you even consider that option, you should really explore and identify that you have tried all steps or everything that you can do to solve the situation. So number one, you have to study your partner. Okay, maybe you know that your partner's love language is a cooked meal. Your partner likes it when you are extra feminine. Maybe that is something he likes, and I'm just saying this from the male advice perspective because I'm a wife, but if you're a husband listening in, vice versa towards your wife, you know your spouse's love language, right? And if you know that, well, my spouse loves it when I cook for them. When they come home and there's no food, it makes them moody. This is what I mean by study your partner. You have to study your partner the way you study your school books, the way you study your career. Literally, that's how you have to study your partner rigorously. And it's even more important than, I would say, your school books, because this is your life partner. You have to know them in and out, and you have to keep learning them, because as I said, we keep changing. So you have to keep learning them. So for instance, you say, my spouse likes a cooked meal. So what are you going to do? You're going to prioritize that. Prioritize the things that you know will keep a happy home. This is not abuse. Anything that does not cause you physical harm, like let's say prioritizing cooking a meal does not cause you physical harm. You might say, I'm a working woman and it's quite difficult to fit all these times in. But then something would have to give, whether it is maybe at that time you were doing something else. You just have to schedule your time in a way that you can fit it in, because it's very important that you serve your partner. So basically that's what it really is. You are serving your partner. He serves you, you serve him. And I know that's something that we are not really taught in the beginning especially in the Western society where I am. We are taught about a fairy tale picture of marriage, but not really the service part of marriage. You're to serve one another. And so number one, I would say, is study your partner. Study your partner like the way you would study any school book or work assignment, and work on keeping them happy, on doing your duties. When I say keeping them happy, I'm not saying do anything crazy, like you are abusing your body or you're abusing yourself. If having a cooked meal will keep a happy home, just do it. Okay? And that is regardless of anything. This is not conditional. Okay? If you do this for a set amount of time, and even if you even start doing it and your partner, maybe because you're saying they're a difficult person, does not even acknowledge that you did it, do it anyway. Still do it. No matter how much it pains you, no matter you're like, well, I'm going to make this food extra salty for you now because you're not even saying thank you. Yeah, it's painful. It is a painful state to be in. But you are doing a service not just unto him, but unto God. And God is seeing these sacrifices that you're doing. God is seeing everything that you're doing. All right. So first of all, study your partner. Second of all, don't place your happiness in your partner. Don't place your happiness in your spouse. If you place your happiness in your spouse, trust me, there will come a time that you are going to feel like, why am I in this marriage? You are going to feel like giving up because man is flawed. Yes, your spouse is supposed to bring some sort of happiness, because obviously this is the person you love. This is the person you shared all these memories with. This is the person that has been, has been just so wonderful to you, that you decided to be in a marriage with them. And now they've become this difficult person. If you place your happiness in your spouse, you are going to be heartbroken. but rather place your happiness in Christ. Place your happiness in Christ and have no expectation. It is more painful to do all kinds of sacrifices and maybe buying a huge present, packaging it up, enclosing it, and giving it to a person. Naturally, the person should be thankful and maybe have the expectation that this person's going to be like, oh, thank you so much. And if they don't do that, you're going to be so disappointed. But if you do that same packaging and you give it without even thinking that a thank you will come, and a thank you comes, it's like, wow. And if the thank you does not come, it's just like, okay. Manage your expectations and don't place your happiness in your spouse. Create your own environment of happiness. Create your own environment of happiness in your home. If your spouse is not the outing type, maybe they don't go, the person doesn't take you out. But you can take yourself and the children out. You can put some music on at home and dance. Find happiness in your own environment. Okay? Find happiness in your own environment. Don't place your happiness in any person. Full stop. Okay, apart from God. Thirdly, consider therapy. Maybe your spouse has some underlying issues that they're going through, that they're exhibiting in their marriage. Sometimes something is happening at work and they just don't know how to deal with it. And so they come home and rather than leaving that behind, they bring it home. They get easily irritated, and you ask them, is everything fine at work? And they say yes. Especially with men, usually they will not go to the call, but just say, well, don't worry about it, because they don't want their spouse to worry about it. But then their actions show that there is something going on. And so sometimes therapy is needed, where your spouse can go with you to therapy just to iron out and understand the underlying issues that are causing these behaviors. And also, these are some of the things that are the costs of covenant making and covenant keeping sacrifices. When it says for better and for worse, these are some of the worst. Sometimes it depends on how you see things. It's the Apostle Paul that said, I'm trying to remember the right scripture, where he said that he's happy about suffering for Christ, happy about going through suffering. When you're going through these trials in your marriage, when you're going through these testings in your marriage, know that you are going through a threshing. You're going through a threshing. You are going through a process of purifying. And my mother, who's been married for she's been married for about 35 years now. She's been married for 35 years now. And she told me this analogy of marriage is like a stone, that goes through the waters. Okay, it's a rocky rock, right, with a lot of edges, and it goes into the waters and it hits and hits and hits around the water, and it gets hit on stuff, and it's getting purified. It's getting purified, right? And by the end of it all, you get this really smooth and beautiful stone. But everybody sees that smooth and beautiful stone, but they don't see, or they don't know what the stone had gone through. All the threshing that the stone had to go through to become that beautiful, purified stone. And again, we all know that process is not sweet. This place that you're in is not sweet. It's not a sweet place to be in, but know that it does not last forever. There is a season for everything. The season of where you had the honeymoon season, you were so happy. It was a season, but that doesn't mean that season cannot come again. It can come again. But it's just that at this moment, you're at a season where you are being tested. Your patience is being tested. Your covenant is being tested. Your conviction is being tested. You're being tested in so many ways. But know that as you persevere and as you go through the steps, and you trust in God, because the marriage is not just you, it's you, God, and your spouse. You cry unto God. God is the one that can harden and soften the heart of any man. We know that Pharaoh, it says that God hardened the heart of Pharaoh so that he wouldn't let the people go. So God can harden and God can soften the heart of man. So just keep praying for your spouse. And then lastly, remember that God does not expect you to fix your spouse. It is not for you to fix your spouse, but it's for you to keep your part of the covenant. It's for you to keep doing your part of the covenant. And the Lord who sees in secret is your rewarder. He is your rewarder at the end of it all. Whether your spouse ever says thank you for all the things you've done, whether your spouse ever acknowledges all the things that you've done, God is seeing every single thing you have done for Him, for God. Anything you're doing for your spouse, you're also doing it for God. And you will be rewarded for it. There is a reward at the end for it. And so keep your spouse in prayer. Go through these steps of studying your spouse, of studying their love languages, avoiding things that you know triggers certain behaviors, seeking therapy, exploring therapy, not placing your happiness in your spouse, but in yourself and the things that are around you and God. And then also praying for your spouse and for your marriage as you're going through this season, and that God ushers you by passing this season onto the next season. I pray that your marriage will heal. I pray that your marriage will make it to the end according to God's plan and purpose. And I pray that all the favor and blessings that the Lord has set for married people come upon you and your family. And I shall see you in my next one. Bye-bye.